we are going to make word birds. This isn't the first time I've done this. I've done this before and it is a crowd favorite. They are dimensional birds, and I call them word birds because I just like to include a little note, a little message, a little lesson, if you will. And this one says, looking forward. And so they are a sort of paper mache, a sculptural type of mixed media, dimensional. They can sit up. I have a flock of various word birds around my studio on shelves here and there, different sizes, different shapes, different colors. And I love them, different messages even. And tonight I thought it would be perfect. The message tonight is courage versus talent. So to be creative and to go maybe outside of what's typical puts you in a place to be judged. That's courageous as well, to keep going even in the face of someone maybe judging you for being over the top, quirky, wonky, whatever. Also, courage comes in the form of simply trying in the first place. So there are things that I have done in my creative life that would seem intimidating. So a couple nights ago, somebody was asking about the animals that were back here on my table, and I brought them up with me here today. And these are hand sculpted. I sculpted these. I am not a sculptor. You know, there's a really good chance that I wasn't going to be able to sculpt. My first few tries were not great. It took a while to figure out, how to do it, what worked for me, my hands, the way that my mind works, and the materials that I wanted to use. And then to actually kind of embrace the fact that I took a doll, took a head off of it, and then redid it. That took courage. And so you may say that I'm talented. No, there's a lot of failure here. I truly believe it's courage. It is the willingness to keep moving forward and figure it out, not worry about what people think, and to not worry about failing. That is courage. I was not born talented. I don't believe anybody in this chat was born talented. Even Dawn Miller, who I admire and we fangirl over in the Maker Bees because her artwork is so mesmerizing. But I don't believe Dawn was born talented, even though I admire her so much as an artist. I believe she just keeps going and learning and trying things differently. If you're one of those people who's like, my fourth grade teacher told me I was never going to be an artist because I was not talented. Or my mom told me I better do something else because art was not my thing. Or you say to yourself, but I can't draw a straight line. I can't draw a face. It looks completely ridiculous. Everybody's face looks completely ridiculous when they first start. Mine still look completely ridiculous. I don't care. I don't care. And I have the courage to keep trying. In fact, I'm pretty happy with my courageousness because I actually put myself in with 1,000 women, 3 times a month, and I'm not the best artist. I'm not, I still have so many skills to learn. But I truly believe that success as an artist, as a creative, comes from being courageous. That is what I truly believe. And some people would say that's getting past the fear, not being afraid. Not true. I'm afraid every time I try something new. There's a fear that it won't work out. You can be afraid. You can be afraid, but courage is going ahead anyway. Okay? It's not being afraid. It's going ahead in spite of being afraid. Okay, so let's get to going on our word bird. Cardboard, masking tape, scrap paper, glue. That really is all you need, but then you can take it a little bit farther with a little bit of paint if you want and just play. But the basics are your cardboard, your masking tape, scrapbook paper or scrap paper, and your glue. So here's how we begin. Let me draw a bird for you. Really quick. Here's how we do a bird. I start with the round head, just kind of like this. And then just a little arched back. And a big belly. And then it kind of comes up into a little tail. You can make your tail any shape you want. And I'm just going to play with it. I'm going to put a beak. And I can just kind of keep refining my shape. Make it a little fatter, bring the tail up like this. Because none of this scribbling really matters because you're just going to use it as a template. So if you do your sketch on watercolor paper or a piece of cardboard, you can cut out your template, and then use it to trace around on your corrugated cardboard as your pattern. So just make your pattern first because you're going to need two identical shapes for the front and the back. Okay, so here's what we do. I've got my two wings and my two bodies. And when I want you to look at these, they are connected at the top and they're wider at the bottom so that they can sit. I made them so they can sit. I didn't want to fool with having legs on them. That was too hard. I did some with legs, little wire legs, and that was just a pain in the butt. Excuse my language. So I did it so that they sit. And I love how they sit on my shelf. So what we're going to do is we're going to use masking tape to make our birds do this. See, they're touching at the top and open at the bottom. So the very first piece of masking tape is going to be the most important one. Painter's tape, masking tape. I would not use duct tape because the shininess of the duct tape I don't think takes paper mache decoupage very well. So I'm just going to attach them at the top. Oh, my tape is sticking to itself. And I'm going to figure out how wide I want it at the bottom. About like that. And then tape it right there. So it doesn't keep it from smushing in, but it keeps it from going out any farther. And what you can do to keep that from smushing in, wad up a piece of paper, wad up some tape, and just stick it in between there, like that. So I'm just going to continue wrapping it with my tape. See? It's going to sit up. I know you can't see it, but it sits up about right here. And I want this to be totally covered with tape because we want something for our papers to stick to. You could say, well, why can't you just take your paper around there, Jen? Well, because then there would be nothing really to glue it to right here, which leaves it susceptible to tearing or not going on right in the first place. And the fun thing about masking tape and cardboard even is it can be kind of smushed and squeezed as you go along. So look where I've got the tail. I'm just going to go ahead, put my tape around, and then I just take that tape and I just kind of squish it. I'm just pushing it around there. In the past, I've put like a weight on the bottom. I think I'm going to be okay. Let me just show you here in a minute why I think that. If you want to, in the past, we have put, I'm going to really pull this tight on this tail. We have put weights in the bottom. So like a little pebble or something just sitting here in the bottom that helps it to just like a weeble. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. But I think if we kind of do this And just flatten it out a little bit, see? Just do a little flat, like I can just squish that down nice and flat. And we don't want it super flat because we still want that birdie to have a nice round belly, but that works great. Yeah. And I could just do a little trimmy. Just a little. And you could also put a weight in it. But I like that. I like that. No weight, no need to worry about that. So I'm going to come over to the beak and the head. Not as wide as it was. Hold on. Maybe I will stick another wad of paper in there. So I'm really squishing this paper in here. I think it'll act a little bit as a weight, and then I also needed to just keep this open a little bit better. Yeah. You know what my favorite, does anybody else love the sound of paper crinkling? And do you have a favorite type of paper? I know this is totally weird. But I love the Amazon packages that are the brown paper, but the bubble brown paper. If I had one here, I would show you what I mean. But I absolutely, whenever I get a package in that, I just like sit there crinkling it for a little bit. I just love the sound of it. So here where I put the tape around the beak, that's a tiny little space. So I'm just going to open it back up again with my scissors. And honestly, the tape just acts like clay almost. You just sculpt it, push it, flex it into place. Isn't that cute? I'm just squishing this up underneath this lower beak. We're getting there. I'd say it's pretty good. Just need a little here. I need to smooth this one out. I have some smaller tape here. I'm going to take that around my beak. So that's what it looks like when it's all taped up. I love it. I mean, this is so fun. So with the little wings, they're going to eventually be like this, but I don't feel like I need to tape those. They're already nice and smooth. They're going to take the collage really nicely. So next is collage. And that means Jen's putting on her gloves because I'm about to get messy. Now for the paper mache part, I'm just taking scrap pieces. I'm tearing them totally random. And at this point, I would just tell you, if you want to do something more meticulous, more planned out, you know, you do you. But I kind of like the kind of patchwork look to it. I'm really liking the yellow. I just like paper mache. I'm kind of getting my paper nice and wet. And I'm going to bend it over. I don't mind wrinkles at all. But I am kind of focusing on kind of this middle part. I'm going to try to keep that kind of the same. I'm just going to stick my hands in here. And you can do the front and back differently as well. especially if you run out of a color, which I think I'm going to do with this. So I just kind of run that over the edge. Grab another paper. Love this. Actually, the ink on this is kind of smearing. I don't know if I'm going to use that or not, so I'm going to put that aside. Grab a book page instead. And I love to use my gloved hands because that way I can just really smooth it on and sculpt it to the bird. And, you know, even though we had those wrinkles from the tape, this is going on pretty smoothly. And this is just fun. Fun. Just to take hold of it, smush it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Isn't that cute, the book page? I'm going to put this side over here. Let me get similar. I don't have any more of that yellow, but this is similar. It's just so fun. So this is really coming along. I'm loving it. Let's go to some of my papers. Ooh, I love that. Just that little piece. That looks so good there. So cute. We've had word cats, word fish, and it doesn't have to be a word. It's just the fact that we're doing this technique with the corrugated cardboard, with the tape, with the paper mache. Look at this, how pretty it's becoming. Love it. So since I got a little purple back there, and since I get a hard time from people because I'm not a big purple fan, I'm going to go ahead and put a little purple on the tail back here. And I get my paper fairly wet so I can kind of just also sculpt it just like you would do any paper mache. So a good amount of glue on there. Just scoosh it around. Scoosh a word. Look at this. This is a gel plate print. Whoo, my hands are sticky. I love this paper so much. This pattern. So this would be great up at the front. Around the beak, this little yellow piece around the beak. And you can see as I'm going, I'm rounding it. I'm smoothing it over that edge. Another good thing would have been to have a little water, because as my hands are getting sticky, I could use a little water on them, because as this starts to dry, my hands are sticking to the paper and kind of pulling away and tearing the paper. So I might pour a little water. I've got my spray bottle. I'll do that. Just spray my hands a little bit. I am using Elmer's Glue All. Elmer's Glue All mixed with a little bit of water. But you know what? For this, really any glue would be totally fine. You'll notice that when I rip the scrapbook paper, it kind of leaves this white, depending on which direction you pull, you're going to get white anyway. It doesn't bother me. Some people, it bothers them. So you can kind of plan the way you tear your paper to avoid that. You got to kind of tear away from yourself. But on one edge or the other, you're going to get a little white strip. It's kind of hard to avoid it. But look how cute this is turning out. Ooh, standing up perfectly. Perfectly. You at least want to make something here for the paper to hang on to down here. Don't leave a hole anywhere. Remember, we're going to put an eye and a wing. I'm almost finished with the paper mache, with the chewing paper. That's what paper mache means, to chew paper. Got a little bit on the bottom down here. But I don't want it to go too far over the edge. That's okay. You know, it wouldn't hurt to put a couple of layers of paper on this bottom part. But we'll leave that for now. I'm going to put something else here. Oh, lucky me. I just found a piece of that yellow. I love that scrapbook paper. I just use a very last of that scrapbook paper. this one with the yellow paper and the red flowers and the blue flowers. Love it. So this needs to dry a little bit. Oh, that's tearing. I'm going to get another piece of purple. Okay, this would be great to sit on a piece of wax paper, parchment paper, something like that to dry. And I'm going to find something like that. I'm going to set it on this plastic. And then we're going to go to our wings. Same thing. And I'm going to pick another color. Here are my gel play prints I have over here. So I have green. I don't want a green wing. This could be nice, but my bird is kind of light, so I need something else. The red would be nice, but that matches the face, so that's fine, right? Oh, we also have that. What do we think? I kind of like this one. I think I'm going to do that. I really only need it fully on one side. This is one that we made, or I made with a roller stamp. And I kind of like how these stripes are kind of going in the direction of like a feather. So that's going to be nice. We're not finished yet, but you can see that's cool. Fun. I could put something different on the tips of the wings. What do you think? What do you think? That's cool. And I'll take care of the other side in a minute. Like it's kind of gooped up back here when I'm folding it over. It's okay. We're going to let it goop. Anybody going to try a word bird? What will yours say? Everybody get their template? If you did not get your template and need it, please say it in the comments. Sandra Trent will post how to get it. So there's a wing. And you see how these are the opposite? These are so quick and fun to make. It's a great way to use up all your scraps. You could add your textiles, fabric, a little bit of lace, some buttons. I mean, possibilities are literally endless. And because they're so quick, you know, change them out. If you change your mantra and whatever words you put on it don't work anymore, change it up. Make another one. Make one for a friend. Just to cheer somebody up. Little birthday gift, little addition to a gift. Christmas ornaments. Table. Put it in a centerpiece on the table for Easter or a birthday or Mother's Day. Or any day. Like I said, mine just sit on my shelf here, staring at me all the time. I love these together. Isn't that cool? And these, remember, those free tools that we made at the beginning of the week. Ugh, on some free cardboard. Charlene, you're welcome. Donna, Sandra just posted it for you. This is the biggest. I've made word birds before live, but this is the biggest. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go big. Go big or go home. Okay, I'm loving the wings. Loving the wings. So the long part of the wing is on top. I got these pretty wet. They're going to take a while to dry. And I'm going to take my gloves off because most of the gluing is finished. And just kind of want to show how that's going to look. And what I'm going to do, get my ink. Do I have my blending tool handy? No. So I'm just going to take my ink do you see how I inked around the edge there? And you could even just take, what about this? Hold on. How about a little bit of paint? I'm going to do a little brown, also known as raw umber. And I'm just going to paint just a little around the outside because I feel like it just needs a little definition. It's kind of getting lost. So that will help. That one. I use sandpaper a lot too. Like sometimes, like with this little line, if I don't like it, it's too heavy, too thick, something like that, I'll just bring my get my sandpaper and sand it down. So there's our wings. It is starting to dry. In the interest of time, I'm going to go ahead and lay this birdie down. And to put the wings on, you absolutely could use whatever glue you want, but you're probably going to want to have to do one at a time. Let them sit. I am using my 3-in-1 beacon because it's a nice quick grab. This is the 3-in-1 beacon advanced craft glue. It's almost like a hot glue that is cold. So there is one wing. And then while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and put an eye on there. I'm going to use white and the eraser of my pencil. And I'm going to go about right here. Make a little round circle. I know I'm using my towel as a palette. I wasn't really planning on painting. And I'm going to paint the beak. And of course, everything we're doing on this side, we would do on the other side as well. It's just that it's wet. Cute, cute. Sue, you can totally leave the wing on. I mean, you can cut around it and cut the wing separately, but you can totally leave it there. No rules, ladies, no rules. I was just saying to a Maker Bee the other day how many questions we get that are like, can I do it on mixed media paper? Can I use black instead of gray? Can I? And the thing is, yes. The answer is always yes. Let's do a little fun something something with our tail back here. I'm using this fancy tool, my eraser. Cute. So I'm not super crazy still about the wing. It's getting lost. I know you see it. So first I'm going to try this. It's a little better. It kind of brings it all together, but I think I'm just going to have to nope, I don't like that either. No problem. I'm just going to get a wet paintbrush. Smushy, smushy. So, I'm going to go rogue. I'm going to go totally rogue. This bird is too bright and cheerful for that dark wing. Yay! Yay! That's so much better. Woohoo! And with my pencil tip, my paint's still a little bit wet. So I'm going to kind of cheat time because we don't have time to sit and wait for it to dry. So I'm just using my pencil tip to kind of apply that black. The color name of that blue, Margie, one of my favorites. Margie Betts, hello. Margie Betts is a Maker Bee. Green Lagoon, Margie. Love this color. Love it. Deco Art, Green Lagoon. Let's give little birdie a little reflection in her eye. I'll give you a close-up. Do a little close-up. Oh, it's coming together. Isn't it cute? So cute. Now, let's think about the words while this is drying. Let's think about the words. Now, I gave you some words to use to play with. And that's fine. There's a template with some words on it, some mantras that we've learned this week. I'm going to see if there's anything on here. Perspective is a cool word. But what about perspective? I might have to go grab my words. Hold on. Let that dry. I'm going to grab my words. I know why I didn't have them at my space, because they were still on my printer. So, let's see. These may be a little bit big, but you can always shrink it down or print off your own. Make a bigger bird. How about... I think it'd be funny if I did my imperfection like this, where it's imperfect. I love that. Love that. And I'm going to ink up the edges. Which I would normally use my Distress ink blending tool for, but embrace. You don't have to ink edges. I just like that look. Imper. This is still really sticky. Fection. Because it's not perfect, right? Hee hee hee. Get a little glue on a brush, and I'm just gonna make sure that's down really well. And don't forget, I would love to see what you make. And to share what you make, you would just go to Mixed Media with Jennifer Chamberlain on Facebook. Join that group if you haven't already. And that's where you share. And if you become a Maker Bee, you share there. I'm going to get a little red. I'm loving it. And if my eye were dry, I would do a little outline there. And when everything dries, I'd have to wait for this side to completely dry. I would turn it over and then do my other side. And it doesn't have to be the same. Do something different. Something about the beak is not working for me. That's better. You just take your cardboard and you wrap it with tape, and then you paper mache, add your paints, play with it, have fun. This is like free materials, pretty much. Very, very low cost. And so you get the idea. So much fun to make. You can do so many different things. So here I have one. Stay curious. And look, oh, I put a crown on this one. You could also do a crown. And I have a crown on this one. Aren't they cute? This is a cute shape. Standing up tall. And then this one has a little crown as well. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.